build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance.
Hello everybody, welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty.
I'm Colin. How's it going, mate?
Good, Happy Christmas to you.
Aye, Merry Christmas. Do you like my new outfit?
I think it's bra, mate. Aye. It's been a long time coming.
Despite my thoughts on grown men wearing fibber strips, I'm wearing a fibber strip for anybody that's listening rather than watching.
Aye.
It's to explain. I had said to my wife, I says, now I've got as big a belly, I might get a waist strip because I think it's smart, the black one. I'll get that black strip for the cup final. And I'll get it in the sale, but there'll probably wouldn't be a sale if we got to the cup final. But I'll get it in the sale next year. Anyway, I got it for my Christmas, so here it is. I don't know what year I'll be wearing it to in the cup final, but we'll see.
Probably know this year. Well, it's good. And like I said to you before we started, it's not like you needed to explain it. Nobody remembers stuff you say to cast it up later. You would have got away with it, I'm sure. And happy Christmas, obviously, to everybody listening as well. Hibs got us started off going into Christmas in a good mood. 4-0 win over Livingston, and we'll kind of pick the bones out of that a wee bit first. And then before they brought the mood back down to earth last night with a 4-0 defeat to Celtic, which we were
return
also...
to normality.
Return to normality, probably. Feels like that, that's the norm now.
In the Matrix. The glitch in the Matrix on Saturday, I think.
So we've not really got any listener talking points for the Livi game, but we do have quite a few for the Celtic game, so we'll come on to them as well. And then for subscribers in extra time, we're going to just kick off our review of 2022 from a Hibs perspective. So we put a wee tweet out through the week there to say, how would you rate Hibs 2022 out of 15? And I think that by far and away the winning category was the 0 to 6 range. So a pretty low scoring one. So we'll give our thoughts on that, give it a score. And then a wee bit of explanation as well. So that'll be an extra time for subscribers, and you can subscribe by visiting our Twitter and clicking on the wee link there, which will take you to Hubwave. £3 a month. You get all the extra content, and all the content that's been published so far is there for you as well. So it's not just the new stuff you get all the back catalogue as well.
That's well worth it, isn't it?
Well worth it,
I've been paying £3 a month, I'll be gone. Fuck, I paid 36 quid last year.
Aye.
Well, not quite, because we never started at the start of the year,
No. But it's good 36 quid is what they'll say. They'll go, I feel
I got all that for 36 quid.
I feel like I've had good value because there's more stuff than just the long banger stuff. There's short bangers extra. We've done our meaning of life. We've done Twitter Spaces in there as well. There's some written content that John's done.
And the adverts is the big thing for me.
The adverts if you listen on your iTunes and that as well. Some adverts if you watch on YouTube, but we can't do anything about that because YouTube put them in, even though we didn't. So. Anyway, right. They didn't fucking pay us for this. So if you're listening to this and you didn't follow us on YouTube, and then the advert that you watch, at least somebody that's a Hibs fan will benefit from it. So, right, is sales pitch done, Colin?
Aye. I think so. Hopefully there's probably a bit extra cash left over Christmas. I got my gas and electric bill in the day, and it says, "Congratulations, you're paying the right amount." So I was like, "Oh, that's good." We've got hit the next month, but in that time.
I'll tell you how much yours was fucking high 3 figures because we've got one of the smart meter things, and apparently that hadn't been communicated to the main thing properly. So we had like somebody come out to have a look at it the other month, and then they were like, "Oh, you've been underpaying, so you've got this to catch up on as well." So
you've been underpaid. Are they making you pay the bits on the new rate though? Like the bit you never pay, because surely you should be on the old rate. No.
I'll go on old rate and then the extra.
No, we just make sure they fucking do because they're sneaky cunts.
Aye, so that's why we're punting the subscriptions. I want to be cold. We need electricity to record the podcast. So
exactly, that's where the cost goes. It'll be the extra laptop running time.
Right, that's probably what it is. Right, so Livingston game. What did we learn for that? Right, so our own talking points for that one, Colin. The first question I want to ask you, get your views on is there a growing case to be made that we can only win against 10 men?
Well, I think the evidence is starting to stack up.
Yep.
In that direction, because is there one game we've won this season that's been against 11 men?
I think it's two.
Two. Oh, when we had that wee spell, maybe.
Ross County away. and I can't remember the other one.
Because other than that, I've disagreed with it all along, but actually I'm starting to just like just argue it like because that's what I want to think. But actually, when you look at the evidence, you go, well, it's not like we've been winning games and the team goes down to 10 men. Like it's usually been a draw from memory, and then we go on to win against 10 or come back, as it was in the Rangers game against 9 men for a draw. So it's no. The red cards have been advantageous. They've not just been a thing that's happened. So I'm starting to see along the lines that the positive is that it's generally harder to play against 10 men. That's what they fucking told us for the last 20, 30 years. It's sometimes harder against 10 men, isn't it for us?
No, we find it fucking easy.
So well done, Hibs. Breaking the mould.
I think it's a hard one to argue, isn't it? Because there's no way to say we would have won anyway. Like, because it happened, as soon as there is a red card in the game, because mind, like the group chats and even on Twitter there was some noise about it just saying, oh well, that's that. This result doesn't count now because it's 10 men. And
which is nonsense, like as well. But
it is. And to be fair, I think folk aren't necessarily saying the result doesn't count. I think they just point it as being like a big factor in the fact that we've won. But it's hard to argue against it because if you look at the games that we have won, the majority have been when the opposition's gone down to 10 men. And when we have played 11 men, our record has been pretty poor. But is that a thing? What was it? Correlation, not causation. And it just means that you could link the two things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're linked. It's like the argument I had about using Joe Newell's record of when he's playing and when he's not playing, what Hibs results are like, just to say, well, that's one factor that you can look at, but there's loads of other things that come into play there as well.
Yeah. That 10-man thing, though, I heard a few folk, I heard that, like, not just in the group chats, not men, but folk round about, and on the way out of the ground and that, you could hear folk saying that. Like, oh, I won again, I was against 10 men. Like, even Hibs fans are saying it. Like, it was everybody else that was saying it. Maybe Hearts fans mainly, but other teams fans that were saying it. And spoke saying that. But I'm now hearing Hibs fans saying it. Like after a good win like that, Christmas Eve, you know what I mean? Christmas Eve's generally these folk are like in a good mood in that, and these folk. It was against 10 men. Like just fucking hell, man, just enjoy it. But when you look at that and then you look at what happened last night again, and spoken about, you go, fucking hell. Need to be helping hand here every now and again.
What do you think of the red card for Hope then? Do you think it was a deserved one?
So I've seen, at the time, I didn't think there was much in it. Like it was no far away from me, but I was the wrong side of it to see it because his back was to me. But I heard Nisbet screaming. Like I don't know if it was, you could hear it at that end, but I could hear him claiming for it. And then I've seen it on the telly, and I think he definitely left his leg in there. But then I always do the thing that go, see if that was a Hibs player, what would I think? And I would probably be moaning if a Hibs player got sent off for that. But I think the rules probably are that it's a red card. I heard like Mikey Stewart just makes the rules what he wants them to be and portrays them as fact on the telly now. That's what I've started seeing. Same with the Craig Gordon incident. And it's like, you go, I think it was him that said, he doesn't even know he's there. Like, well, it's his fucking job to know he's there, right? Because that's what they talk about, reckless. So that's totally fucking reckless then, that if he's left his studs up like that, we know what. Why did he slide in like that?
If there was getting the players there,
So it's totally his job to know that. And if he didn't know that, then that makes it whatever the worst one than reckless is. That we had that conversation that
dangerous,
careless, reckless, and endangering a player or something. That's your no booking, yellow card, red card levels. It's the top one then in that case. If he didn't know because he's totally out of control and no awareness of what's around him. But he definitely had his studs up and he caught him. So I think it's probably a red card. But then I've seen poachers do a tackle like that and go, it's not a red card. So I'm trying to take the bias out of it and say, well, what do I think? And I think the rule says it's a red card. I think fans didn't want it to be a red card. I think this where I've landed on it.
In real time at the game, I just looked away from it, and so the moment I looked up was at the moment where he went into Nisbet, and of course the ball's well away by that point. And because I was like, oh, you dirty bastard, fucking red card came out. I was
Well,
like, that's totally justified. But when you see the
aye.
whole thing, do you know, if it'd been a yellow card, it's one of those ones, if the referee pulled out the yellow card, you probably wouldn't have gone mental about
So,
it.
what I was just going to say, no, you wouldn't have. I don't think anybody would have. I don't think many folk were screaming for a red card, to be quite honest. And I think the reason that he maybe got it is the argument we always say, if that was Porteous and he'd get a red card. And the referees went, oh, it's Holt, he's a dirty wee cunt.
Aye.
Because, I mean, I was even watching, what game? They played Celtic midweek prior to the Christmas Eve, didn't they? And I watched some of that game. And the Celtic TV commentator said, because he took a dive towards the end, well, he just fell down, just one of the Presley plunge things. And I think it's Tom Boyd that does the co-commentary, and he went, "No, it's Holt. We all know previous to him, it's cheap." So he's got a reputation about him, like Porteous does, and like others do at other clubs.
Aye.
And the referees probably thought, "Fucking him, red card." Aye. Whereas if it was one of the other players, might have got a yellow. The difference was that, that for a good point, it was the referee clamping down on them, because Livingston they would try and get away with that all day.
Aye, definitely.
And that's the kind of, and that's how we get in the battles with them, and then end up losing them, because you fought at their level and they're better at it because they've experienced it. But the referee clamped it early doors, and even let the second guy off that for standing on Campbell's leg, which again doesn't look deliberate, but another player would probably have got booked for it, or red card for it.
Or red card,
because the referees probably know how to wee chat with other referees about that boy, like what they do with everybody else.
Okay, right. So, 10 men. It's definitely helped us. We need more evidence. 11-men victory. That's the only way Hibs will put that to bed this season. Otherwise, that's just going to be it's going to be the thing. And like you say, the evidence, the longer that stacks up, what you're going to do, you can't ask the referee to know if I can send folk off. Like you're going to take it. It's not if you're going to say, referee, we need to test ourselves. Then send them off.
Nobody's saying can Hearts only win games or Rangers only win games because they get a penalty every week. Like, nobody's saying that. They're just saying, well, it's the rules. They're red card. They're penalties. Well, they're red cards. You know what I mean? They've looked at it on the telly. They've decided it was still a red card, so it's still a red card. You know, it's like why is it all? But that comes back to we've not got somebody in the media punting our line of thinking.
Correct.
Whereas they do.
Aye.
You know, and that's why you know, you got Mikey Stewart, they just, as I say, creating a new rule to back up that it was a red card a penalty, or it was.
Sports team were a bit critical on this, but for not getting out of the way of it.
Like the thing is, that player would normally, he's not expecting it because he's thinking, "The boys not going to do me." Right? It's good that he did go in for it after the injury he got last year, which was about this time, like January, February time. He was
just at the end of the window.
Yeah, so it was good he went, because he didn't really have much chance of winning it, to be honest with you. But it's like, it's mad that was the conclusion I arrived at. He's went in there, totally reckless, out of control, he studs up, and this bit shouldn't go near him. All right. Is that the rule now? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can go up with your knees fucking clenched like you're fucking bombing into a swimming pool, and just fucking wait on somebody running into you, and that isn't a red card.
Aye.
Like, the fuck? What rules are these guys looking at? Like, it's mental, eh?
It is
I sometimes get at the end of the games, and it's like, there was same last night with that foul throw, and I'm going, I don't know what the rules are. Same with the handballs. I don't know. I don't know what the rule is this week. I genuinely don't fucking know, and I've not got the inclination to go and try and understand it, because it's grey areas all over the place deliberately, so they can chop and change their fucking mind every week, and that's why we didn't get consistency, because the grey area that the rule, the word in their rule creates.
Aye, because if I'll throw one last night, I came going on a different game. That was it Rangers we were playing, and we did one, and he just went, fuck it. Rangers get
the wrong place. Aye. It wasn't even a foul throw. Well, I suppose that's classed as a foul throw, but they took it to the wrong place. They went, fucking turn it over. Whereas last night, it was a foul throw, or that's what he seemed to indicate, that it was a foul throw. And it was like Burns football, when they go, no, you need to put it behind your head and
just do it again.
Take it again. Like, kind of like fucking under 10s game or something. Mental.
Right, back to Livingston. Next talking point, you got one?
Aye. What about, do we judge players too early as a fan base?
Yes. Well,
and the examples are Yuan's performance, Josh Campbell's this season.
Yes.
McCurdy this season on the opposite way.
Aye. Well, McCurdy's been written off already, hasn't he?
But he was also judged as being a great signing.
Aye. So he's swung both ways. He's only about 5 games into his
Came in.
career.
He
5,
came in
6
as
games.
a saviour.
Aye.
He's going to be, and now he's totally written off. Bojan obviously has been written off by the manager as well. So it's generally they were right players off too early, but there is also the ones where they come in with a lot higher expectation and then.
Aye. Well, Johan, take Johan first. First of all, I thought on Saturday he put in his best performance in a Hibs jersey. I think Johnson described him as having the fullback on toast. Is it Devlin? Who's a decent fullback, and for minute one, Johan was. He just had to beat him, whether he was going outside or inside. They didn't really care how to deal with him.
Yeah. And that was 11 against 11. That wasn't because there was any extra space
Correct.
or extra man there. Yeah,
correct. And well, actually, Rocky Bashir is another one to bring into this conversation. Because Josh said to me last night, he says, imagine if you'd be reaching the end of the season and at the end of the year, and your candidates at this point for Player of the Season for Hibs would be Rocky Bashir and Josh Campbell. It's probably right, and you would have laughed. Kind of going into the season, you would have been like, "Fuck's sake!" But I mean, I think Ewan, I think needed time to settle. I think that there was a comment made kind of earlier on. I can't remember how early in the season about his age, the fact he didn't speak English very well, struggling to adapt to Scottish football when he was
Celtic game when they dropped him.
Right enough. And he was in and out of the team, and folk were maybe pleading for a wee bit of patience with him because I think his first couple of games, he looked really good.
I
think you get there's like a thing when you go to somewhere new. There's almost like an adrenaline kind of thing. You just play off instinct almost. That you like. Right, I didn't really care what they did. Aye, I'm just going to do my. Know that they wouldn't do their best anyway, but I'll do my natural game. Hope it fits in with what the team's doing. And if it's good, it's good, and if it's no, it's no. And so he kind of flew by the seat of his pants, I think, those first couple of games. But then as he tried to kind of adapt to what the team was doing and what Johnson was asking, but then his form just kind of fell off a cliff. And I think that wee break at the World Cup has done him the world of good. He looks different players, maybe a bit more settled out wide than he was in the central. But
he started off wide. In his first couple of games as well, and then folks says, "He's be better through the middle," because folk then start making stuff up. Like as well as judging them too early, they start saying, "Oh no, he needs to be through the middle," and you're like, "Based on what?" Because he had a couple of bad games out wide, but now he said he's good games out wide again. He's only had good games for Hibs out wide, so I'm saying he's a good wide player.
Yeah, I would go along with that. So I think there are definite instances. I think there's also times where you can see quite quickly if a player's at it or no, but I don't know. There's probably more examples recently where players have looked shit and then grew into the jersey, if you like. Joe Newell, one of them. Like, remember his? Well, yeah, he's maybe.
But no, you're right though. Because when he first came, he was written off early doors. Then he came good, and then he's been inconsistent.
Doige was another one. I mean, Doige was, was kind of getting hailed as one of the worst strikers we'd ever fucking signed, and then he hit a purple patch, and we were all happy that we had him. Was getting touted for Wales call-ups and everything until he got injured.
Well, he was on for 20 goals until COVID stopped the season, like that year. Like it was like, when did we ever have 20 goal scorers? You know, it's like you're back into Ryard and O'Connor days, really.
That's it.
There's probably been one since, but you know, it doesn't happen very often. And he's obviously fucked now, like he's Kelly's. It's not a great one, but
that's it.
You're right. He came in and it was like, mind that Aberdeen game, he missed a couple of chances. He was like, this boy's passion. I mean, sitting, I don't know if I was doing the podcast then, but I definitely spoke to you about it, saying, I didn't think they were sirs. Like
that's right.
He missed chances and he missed one-on-ones, but they weren't like open goals or, you know, Lewis has done all right there. He could have done better there. That angle's no easy on that one. And it was like, but folk desperate to go, he's pish, he's shite. And I don't know if every fan base does this or if it's, and I'm sure some do. But we seem to, and it's probably because we're living it, if you like, but it's like, fucking hell, like, support means. Like, what does support fucking mean? You know what I mean? I can't remember, right? But you know what I mean? You keep on getting it. Like, support the cunt.
Get behind them.
It's Well,
But then I suppose the counter, and you mentioned Bojang, there was folk who said Bojang wasn't at it right for the word
you've
go.
got to be right sometimes.
Well, that's it. Josh Vela, another one that kind of came up, clearly didn't settle and went, can we cut our losses? Chris Mueller, another one that again was hyped.
But a lot of folk fucking loved him in his first game because I didn't go. It was a Scottish Cup. He played at Easter Road. Mind it was a
Extra
was
time. I can't remember who we played. Morton or something
somebody's
like that. It was
check. Aye,
fucking
no, it wasn't even
terrible
as good
night.
as Morton. It was a lower league team, and he came off the bench. I think I watched it on the telly, and I remember folk saying how good he was, and I thought, didn't come across on the TV. But I didn't like to go in two-footed and say he's pish or he's brilliant early doors anyway. I like to give folk a chance to actually have a sort of representation of different opposition.
A body of evidence, a decent
body
sample
evidence.
size.
Aye, let's use that.
Aye.
Let's use that. Well, I know that's copyrighted with the boys at Down the Slope.
I know.
It's
Don't mind.
a decent sample size. No, it's a good saying. So I didn't like to jump in two-footed for that reason, but I watched him and I thought, I'm not seeing what everybody else is seeing. It must have been stuff he was doing off the ball and that. I think I said that to you, whether it was on here or no. I've definitely said it out loud to you or Charlie or somebody, because I was like, didn't see it. But again, he was one of the ones that folk were going, man, he fucking ripped up the MLS and that. So it was like, it was the hype train that gets folk. And it was the same with McCurdy. It was the hype train. Oh, he's got to be fucking brilliant. But then you've got the other boys that are coming in going, he's pish. And see, I was half there as well, that on the first one of the first podcasts we done, when he played. But I wasn't. Again, I was trying to give him a chance, and I look at it and I go, even with Bojang, and you go, hasn't even played the totally a whole half yet for Hibs. Am I writing him off? So I think the answer to my question is we definitely do, and we need to give folk a chance and we need to support them. But then there's got to come a point where you go, not good enough.
I think the Bojang one's interesting. So I think from a fan's perspective, we've had glimpses of him. I think it's impossible to judge. Lee Johnson's had those glimpses of him, but then seen him every day in training. Then it's easy to make the judgment and go and say, fucking miles off, send him away.
To do, isn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
I think that's where you kind of have to.
You'd like to think somebody wouldn't be miles off if they've been scouted properly. Like we're coming into a recruitment thing there, right? Because they could maybe be a wee bit off or need a bit of coaching or a bit of development and something, but they shouldn't be miles off.
No.
Otherwise, why are they fucking here in the first place?
Correct. Aye. I would totally agree with that. Right. Last point on the Livi game before we move on. 2 goals for Kyle McGuinness, second goal in 2 games for Kevin Nisbet. How important is the return of those 2 players for the rest of their season?
So after Saturday and before the game last night, I was saying that it's massive because I thought on Saturday they brought a real kind of quality, a touch and movement that we've not seen since they've been out the team, because they've both been out for a year and a half. It's been like, as we say, Nisbet's been since February and McGuinness longer than that. So I think you could see the difference. Even McGuinness playing out on the right, that I've seen, like, we'll come on to, like, why is he out there? But I thought Saturday he looked good out there.
Yeah.
So, and it was just a touch in their movement. I thought, yeah, you can see they're the guys that maybe Poch just hasn't had in training with them to bring the standard of the drills up, like he was complaining about. You know what I mean? Put him in a wee group with him then, and then see what he can learn for them, because they've definitely got a touch that he's not got. So they are better players than Poch's, better footballers, and that's what I think. So that's only good for us if we fucking keep them. Because imagine if we're going to have this mass clear out in that, they're the ones that would actually other clubs would want.
Aye, but I think those are the ones that you would imagine he'd want to build his team around, really, rather than ditching the fact
we're not going to, are we?
You're not going to build the team.
Aye, he'd want to build his team around them, but as soon as they get a sniff of a move, they'll be away, and they're the kind of players that we would. Well, I think the way it's set up is they want to bring them through, develop them, bring them in, develop them, cash in on them. They're at the point now where we need to cash in on them. We've just not had anything out of them because of their injuries. And they're the ones that our clubs would want. I mean, they could get a game for Rangers now, I think. They would definitely get it. They'd be around about it. Maybe no Celtic, but certainly they're around about the Rangers level. But English Championship and that, I think they would be valued players. I mean, Nisbet's in Scottish international, proper. Like,
Aye.
played
I think
10 caps.
McGuinness probably has a bit of proving himself to do again now, isn't he? Like the fact that he's had so long out, he's probably the least saleable out of the two.
Yes, yeah, but he would still be on other clubs' radars just because he's clearly got talent, and all would go against him is there would be a thorough medical.
Aye, no Hibs medical, like a proper.
But the thing is, the injuries he's had, it's been like, well, it was bad knee injuries.
Aye.
So they might want to properly test the knees. And then a lot of the other injuries are kind of spin-offs from not quite, when players come back, obviously the hammies go and the groins go and all that kind of stuff. So I think I thought they looked class on Saturday. Not so much last night.
Aye. A welcome win anyway, wasn't it? They just to wrap up on Livingston, 4-0, four good goals, I thought, and 2 penalty saves. Marshall, I suppose that's the other thing. 2 penalty saves, clean sheet. Who's the goalkeeper in the team of the week?
No, it was the one that didn't even finish the game.
Aye, mental. And he should have been sent off. I got grief for Hibsnet for that, for saying.
It's a sympathy fault, isn't it? I mean, the referee even overturned the penalty because they went, the boy in VAR's probably gone, I've seen the footage, mate, just fucking overturn it because you've got hammered them on.
Aye.
So it's 100% a penalty. Like, but I said that Maltman's not a football fan. He mentioned it to me when he was over on Boxing Day, and I went, I says, but fucking he shouldn't be sent off. And he says, he's got to be for a while, but he should have got sent off, shouldn't have a penalty. He went, nobody else is saying that. And I was like, who do you mean nobody else? But it's still Hibs fans that are saying it. It is. It's only Hibs fans that are saying it. Like Sports Scene, Sports Sound, all the boys, they're all saying that the ref was right to overturn it, and he was unlucky. Anybody else, and it might be because he's a goalie, because goalies get away with stuff that other players can't. But I mean, you just, as I say, he's in the position of bombing a swimming pool.
Aye.
Like any defender just jumps up with their knees sort of at their chest like that, is getting sent off.
You can't say that the force wasn't significant as well, because you look what it did to him.
Correct.
And
he's
unlucky, and Stephen Fletcher's lucky that the injury went the way that it did. Because if the injury had happened to Fletcher, every company would be going, it's a fucking red card, can't he be charging it like that? Penalty all day long, all the rest. I think he's. We know it's well on Craig Gordon, but
but it's not the point.
But David Marshall, 2 penalty saves. He did get man of the match though, which was fucking mental. Man of the match, and then
it was just after though. The man of the match got announced just after the second penalty save. It was like they went up to whoever it is in hospitality, the match sponsor or something. I mean, just as he was sitting back doing after cheering the save, I mean, who's man of the match? Marshall. Well, it must have been. That's all I can think of.
It was a good achievement. There's no men. I think was it Cammy Bell saved 3 for Dunfermline, and but I think especially so close together. I mean, literally like the first save and then the next penalty gets awarded straight away.
Even had the rebound in between the two. He got up and saved the rebound, because at one point I'm thinking he's letting the boy get a shot away, because I thought he could have just went out and dived on the rebound, but he kind of held off and then saved it. Second one probably wasn't a penalty though.
No, came off Newell's leg first.
And Mikey Stewart did say that on TV, so I'll give him credit. He did seem to know that rule. But Newell was running over the ref saying, "I hit my knee, shin, foot, whatever I hit."
I think they might have changed that rule.
Do you?
I have.
That's what I don't understand about handball, really. Because he definitely handballed it, because it was right in front of me, and I went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And I never noticed that hit his foot enough.
I think they changed. You know how they said, like, if it hits the attacker at all in hand, whether their hand's in like a unnatural position or whatever, if it hits their hand, that's a handball and the goal doesn't count. But for the defender, there's a bit different criteria for it to give away the penalty, which is stupid as well, because surely you just go, well, handball's handball. It needs to be the same for the defending team and the attacking team. But I think when they made that change, they took away if it comes off another part of your body and onto your hand, then it doesn't count. But I could be wrong there. I might have just fucking imagined that.
Well, the players seem to think it was a rule.
I thought they do.
But
players didn't keep up with the fucking laws, did they?
No,
do you know, we're getting this.
No.
Right. Anyway, good win. On to last night's, where we had kind of like the sort of polar opposite. Do you want to kick off by a talking point for last night's game?
Let me think of one.
Well, I'll go first then, right? So after we got beat 6-1 at Parkhead, Lee Johnson was in the press saying the players should be knocking on the Celtic dressing room door and asking their players how they do it.
Mhm.
Lee Johnson should have been at Ange Postecoglou's door last night asking him how he does it,
Mhm.
right? And I get, because we put this out as a tweet last night, a few folk came back, I saying about 30 million, 40 million pounds worth of players, or 100 million over 3 seasons, or whatever it is that that they've spent. And obviously that's a factor, right? But the difference, it's not just the quality of players, work rate, positional sense,
Yeah.
awareness. Go back to work rate. Celtic, Postecoglou did a thing like his first training session. I remember they showed it on STV News or Sky Sports or something. Just had a wee clip, and he's just like, "We never stop." He must have said it about 6 times. We never stop. We never stop. And it was like as soon as the ball went dead, it was like fucking again, go play right to the end. You see how many late winners Celtic get. Celtic never stopped last night. And you look at how do they win every second ball, every third ball sometimes. So they're first to the ball. The ones that they're not first to, they're picking up the second ball and then sometimes the third. It's because they're on the move the whole fucking time. It's no luck that they're getting to it. You can coach that. That's no just because you've got a good
Oh,
player.
it's attitude and fitness, a lot of that.
Mhm.
I mean, you've got to be good with the ball as well once you get it. But you're right, creating space and that, because that's when you were saying that talking point. That's what I thought. Aye, clearly they've got better players, right? They've got 40 million or whatever the number is that somebody's saying that they've spent. I know that I would be convinced that we could, as a club, get 30 million and fucking spend it correctly. Like that's a
Yep.
different argument. But if we take what we've got as like, and we've said this before, and it's quite a bore folk, but in the old days, remember when we used to sell players to Rangers and Celtic, and then within weeks you'd read an interview with them, and they'd go, "Oh, the intensity in training." This and you think, well, why were you not working that hard at fucking Hibs? Like we've got all the facilities and that, we've got all the balls, all the goals, all the pitches. Like why were you not running as fast when you're a Hibs player? And that's what that is. It's work rate, mentality, fitness, and that easily can be coached. The fact that it doesn't even need coached. It's just say go fucking run that far, that fast. That's it. That's an order. It's not a fucking like you need to be coached to go for a 5K. Do it in 20 minutes, can't you know what I mean? It's fucking. It's just it's just mad. Because it's and even when they were pushing it last night, like after about 35 minutes or something, they were still doing it. Like they just kept going. I was, as I said to you before we came on, I left early last night, which I don't often do, but I did. And I got the end of it on the radio in the car, and I think they were described as relentless. I mean, they never scored after I left. I did see all the 4 goals, but so I can't comment on the last 20. I'm taking the word of Radio Scotland, who I normally fucking disagree with. So correct me if I'm wrong, but they called them relentless, and I thought that's what it felt like. They just didn't. The game was won easy, and they just kept going. They kept going. They kept going, and that's how they took 9 off United. And they probably should have got double figures. They were fucking trying. They never stopped. Like I've just repeated it. It's hypnotic, but it's that's it, and that's something that he could definitely go and say when he was having the bottle of beer or a glass of wine last night. How do you get the guns to keep running? Like, when you're 4-0 up, how do you get them to keep just doing it? Like, how did they never stop? What is it you're doing to them?
There is that point, and I'll use the example of Callum McGregor, right? Callum McGregor took over.
He's a great player, by the way. I think he's an excellent player.
Took
I know
over
he gets criticised when he plays for Scotland, but he's an excellent midfielder.
Took over for Scott Brown as captain, big boots to fill. And I'm not saying this to blow smoke up up Celtic or Callum McGregor, right? Their 4th goal, I think, came for him winning the ball back in their half. Right, he was on the fucking ground, right? He's on the ground. I think it was Nisbet and Josh Campbell, or Nisbet and Newell, or Newell and Campbell came up, 2 Hibs players, right? Favourites, clear favourites to get the ball, come away with it, and actually in quite a decent position for us. We're on the attack at that point. McGregor wins the ball on the ground because his tenacity and just determination to do it. It's like he's that he never won it because he was fucking super skillful at being on the ground and sticking a leg in or anything like that. It was 100% attitude. His attitude compared to the attitude of Hibs players who were like, I'm not saying they weren't trying, but it's like, see what you were talking about, the image I got in my head, right, when you're saying going run that far, that fast. See when you see the clips of the team training and they're all jogging in a big group. Now, sometimes it's the physio that's leading them. Maybe they've got this is how fast we need you to be. But surely you want some kind of go, fucking, I'm faster than these boys. And
do you ken what? It's fucking
set
mental,
the fucking
right?
standard. Who's at the front all the time, and how far in front are they? Because then the cunt at the back goes, fucking, by the way. But if they all do it, they'll just go, that's how fast I have to run. To be at this team, that's the standard.
Yeah. I know. Right, and I ken it's like, it's girls' football. She trains at under 14s doing East Mains on a Tuesday night, and there's a wee lassie that when they do their running drills, it's like they want you to go at 50%, then 70%, then 100. The wee lassie just fucking sprints the whole fucking thing and laps everybody all the time, and nobody tells it to slow down, but it drags the other ones along. And it's like the wee lassie's an absolute fucking machine at the running, and you think, why are you like that? That's the standard setting, eh? Really, like for that point of view, and it's like, well, why would I fucking? Because she could go faster, like the looks at, like, and it's just like, how have we not got that at men's football? Like, how is that? Like, at your team? Is that where the soft attitude that comes from? Is that where the softness is in that, though? Is it just folk cruising? Is that what Porteous means when he's talking about the training's not hard enough for men anymore? And as soon as he signs for the new team that he signs for, he'll go, the intensity of training is much higher. It's harder than that.
They've got 2 or 3 that try to be at first. They're not happy
just
to
him there now, and he's went, fuck it, what's the point? And I'm running ahead of everybody, but they're all fucking just jogging anyway, having a chat and a laugh, like it is in the footies that you see. But they're publicity shots as well, remember. So you do wonder, like, because as you say, that's nothing to do with 30-40 million, unless you get better attitude with 30-40 million pound spent.
No, and you're right. And so I'll also caveat saying, speaking from a position of ignorance, in that I've not got a clue about sports science, and there could be a very good reason why they go and say, this is the pace we want you to run it. But I just like, see if you apply that, and even, well, I've spoken about this before, the warm-up drills, right? And well, we talked about it when we watched Open Chain session. They did the shooting drills, and they were fucking no pressure at all, skying the ball for fucking 10 yards and everything. They did these wee, what they called rondos, like pig in the middle, used to call it. I think they're called rondos now, maybe. And they didn't try. It's like a piss about. It's like I'm going to try a wee fancy flick here, and I'll have a laugh if I didn't fucking make the pass. And you're going, set a standard.
And the wee boy in the middle's not actually doing the.
They're not giving a fuck, right? And they've got a coach standing there watching them, and you're going, I just can't help but say, if I was that coach, what the fuck, he's dead. No, he's working. This is how you want to do it. You want to set the standard, because at some point you're going to have to come onto the pitch, and somebody will be closing you down to press you, and you're going to have to fucking pass the ball. Like the Celtic full-back that I was talking about before we started, that got the ball, is at the corner of his own box, trapped in. There's 3 Hibs players come to press him. Didn't actually fucking make a challenge or get close enough to him. He was able to stand still, have a look about which unmarked player he wanted to pass the ball to, and then just pop a wee past him. Simple as you fucking like, and just destroyed our press. They can do that because when they were doing their warm-up, because I watched them, they're not fucking about. They're all switched on and driving a standard. Now, some of that's the players, most it's the manager. The manager needs to go and fucking put his foot down and say, what the fuck are you doing? No, what? Or have a word with 2 or 3 senior players, or 2 or 3 players that are coming through saying, here's how you make a name for yourself at the club. Go and fucking embarrass these cunts. Go and fucking run faster than them. Make them chase you.
Do you know what's funny though? I watched last night, and I've not really noticed it before. There was a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times anyway, it's Josh Campbell that shout over to the touchline to give an instruction. Like almost like he's like the outfield captain, because Marshall's in goals out of the fucking road, And it's like they'll shout Campbell over, and he's then the one going back in and organising things. And normally, a couple of times last night, it was to say, every cunt line up on the left, Porteous has got to do that big swirly fucking Gary Owen, as it was called in rugby, for you 3 to chase up the touchline. That was 2 of the shouts, but they did shout him over to, I think, when the subs came on and they were moving Porteous back and all of that. And it's Campbell that seems to be because he appears to have the attitude that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because he will run, he will chase, he will get about the place. Now, you could question his ability on the ball on occasion.
Mhm.
But he's got the right fucking attitude.
Aye.
It appears to me. Whereas some of the other ones you look at and you go, you got to fucking run it any faster because you can. Because see, when you've got the ball, I've seen you run a lot fucking faster
Aye.
that way. You're not running very fast that way. So it's like that is an attitude thing.
Aye.
There's no
And-
doubt because you can definitely run faster than that.
And I think that's the thing about. Well, we spoke about it before, like who your leaders are at the club, who sets the standard, who's your David Grays and your fucking Darren McGregors, and you know the rest.
Which comes into the talking point I was going to say about fucking nae bookings again.
Yes.
Like,
right, go ahead.
So I don't know how I'm going to phrase it, but where are our fucking like? Why did we have no bookings? Like in a game like that, when I don't know what the possession stats were, but they must have had most of it. So that must mean we're defending for most of it, which must mean we've got more tackles to put in. But we've got nobody booked, not one. Which again comes to me for attitude, right? Because you think, well, what David Gray would have done is go and smash some cunt. Now he would have won the ball, he would have tried to win the ball, and he would have smashed somebody at the same time. And they would have got the crowd up, they would have said fucking folly knee. That's what we fucking, that's the standard, that's what we need to do. It would have also put a doubt in their mind to say, fuck, I need to get rid of this faster, which leads to mistakes and opportunities. But was that the second time against Celtic? We've had no bookings.
I think there was none at Parkhead as well.
10-1 on aggregate on the two legs, if you like. And no fucking one card.
No card. Maybe we got one
incredible.
at Parkhead, but I can't remember.
There was a game we got no bookings this year.
Aye.
And this season, and it was in a game where we got a bit of hiding. And you think, why? Because we were fucking miles off it.
And it goes back to what we said about the Dennis press. There's no point in a press if you're not actually going to get close to the player and make a challenge. You're not putting them off if you're just running beside them. Because I'd quickly figure out, Colin, if you were coming to press me, and the first 2 or 3 times you did it, you got so close and were like, I'm not getting a tackle put in me. You're not coming close enough for me to have to push you away, or you're going to knock me off balance or anything. You're not a threat. I could just go, I just have to pass around you. That's all I have to consider. So, as I said before we started recording, I was telling my dad, I said, fucking need to hit somebody, kid, doing the hand signal where you're punching your other hand. And it was so obvious that was what was lacking. But then you look at like the tactical decisions, right? Celtic probably the best midfield in the league. I would say that I don't think you would be causing too much controversy to say that. We've gone with Porteous, Newell, Campbell, McGuinness. McGuinness at the right, completely ineffective. Campbell running out a lot. Porteous was like a fucking fish out of water last night. I thought he was. He looked like a player that wasn't playing his natural position. And again,
he got away on Saturday because we had the extra man, probably.
Aye, you could have taken Porteous out the team on Saturday, but we wouldn't really have missed him. That's no saying he had a bad game or anything. Just like I don't think we really needed his position on Saturday after they went to the 10. And then Joe Newell had one of his games where
he didn't even get booked. He's fucking really quite good normally
getting booked. But Newell's not the quickest of players, and if you've got a busy midfield that you're up against and you want to try and match up against them, Joe Newell's not your man for that game. You just know the amount of times that he was about to get on the ball with somebody just fucking running behind him, take the ball off his toe. He was about to play a pass and somebody get it. In fact, even we were so slow with the passes, the amount of passes that were played, and then within a split second get played, there was a Celtic toe in it, taken out of the direction it was going. And
on all that though, I mean, we actually started quite well.
Very well.
10 minutes, and it was one of them. I said to my daughter, I says, "You need to score if you need to be when you're on top like this. We need to get a goal."
Aye.
And we never. And as soon as that, it was inevitable, really, to me, because I'm watching it. As soon as the first one went, and you went, "Fuck."
Aye.
And I mean, even at 2-0, though, you think, well, if we get one back. Yeah, just 2-1 going into half time. I think we missed a chance quite late on in the first half. And then Nisbet had the chance as well, the header, which was terrible.
It's like he shut his eyes.
Aye, he jumped too early or something.
Aye.
Like I don't know if he was on the way down or I'm at the other end, but it was just a terrible attempt. And then Campbell had the attempt for the throw in, he sneaked in and took the throw in off them and hit the volley. So there was opportunities, and Ewan was causing bother for the first minute again. He drifted out of the game a bit, but then the whole team did. I know I've just changed the subject away from what we were talking about, but I thought it was worthy of mentioning. Like, as much as we got to do, and we had opportunities that would have got us in the game and got something to hold on to early on. We should have caught them off guard. Like, they've been, they've obviously travelled through or had their afternoon nap. I think they were in the Sheraton yesterday. Imagine going for an afternoon nap in the Sheraton, and sitting in there in the afternoon having a wee kip, and then come down and you try and catch them off guard. The cold, wet night. One of they ones. See what you got on a Wednesday night in Edinburgh, and got to go in early doors. And that's what teams, when we've had success against, well, even Hearts on the big midweek nights, as well as the Old Firm, if you can still call them that. I don't know if you're allowed. I can't remember what the argument is. But anyway,
it's Glasgow 2 now, I think, or something like that.
I can't remember.
There is no Old Firm.
They just argue. Whoever it is, they'll argue. Somebody will not like it. One of the two. But it's early goals. An early goal. It gets the crowd up for it. Puts them on the back foot. Gives you something to hold on to. And had opportunities last night, didn't take them. And then we just got totally fucking outplayed out of the game. And nobody put a finger on anybody, apart from the one Campbell caught the boy a bit later, but accidentally. The centre half, number 4, can't remember his name. And that was it. That was the only time. And again, he never meant it. It was just because he was close enough that he managed to fucking bang into the guy. I was thinking, why wouldn't he just bang into them anyway? Because the only other one was when Poch just done that sort of petulant shove on Moy that I mentioned before we recorded. That you go, what was that for? Like, that's no, like, at least fucking put your studs down his fucking Achilles or something if you're going to do something stupid.
If you're going to something stupid, make it count.
But it's oh man, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating watching it. It's because, and it's nothing. I don't think it's anything to do with 40 million. Because put it this way, if we do this on Monday night, is it Monday? When do we play them? Is it the derby? Monday.
Monday. Yeah, Monday afternoon.
They spend a wee bit more money than us. But if they go out and play like that, they'll fucking beat us. And we'll be saying, why is there in the end fighting a derby, we're too soft, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's the same. It's just that they've got better players, but it's with mentality and fucking, no, it's not a boy band thing. It's just, why the fuck is nobody, who is your leaders out there? Like, go and do something. Don't shout, it's just do something. Go and you fucking lead by example.
There's no hard man in the team, Porch is probably the closest we've got. But there's no Stevenson. It's tough, but he's no hard man. He stand up for himself, but he's not going to go and set the tone. I know that you want to be a team of cloggers and all the rest of it. I get that, but
it's not about that though. It's not about clogging. It's not about being Livingston and just trying to get away with what you can get away with. It's about going out and putting a marker down and saying, "Nah, you're fucking here." Like every time you get the ball, mate, I'm going to be standing in your fucking place.
It's like we're not scared of you. We played like we were scared of them. That's what I thought last night. It looked like we were that standoffish, and I was going to bring it up at the talking point, but the amount of ball watching, like Celtic are on the move all the time, and they killed us with their runners. Because how would I describe it? Right, so say you've got a 2-on-2, right? 2 Celtic players, 2 Hibs players. Celtic players in possession of the ball. The 2 Hibs players will go to press him, right? Press himself, but all he does is, because the press isn't good enough, passes between them, goes to the other. And what the 2 of them do is they forget that boy's just released the ball, is going to move away from the spot that he's in. The 2 of them turn, chase the ball, go to the other player, and he's fucking passed back to them. Or, because they're chasing the ball, they've no clocked that there's a third player now come on the scene that's run past everybody, and he gets the ball and he's in a position to fucking shoot or cross. The amount of ball watching that we did was, it was like schoolboy stuff.
I can't remember who it was on the radio last night, but they described, it might have been, who was the right back? Was it Taylor?
I think it was Taylor, or was it one of the
whoever the right back
was,
boys
playing right
back
up against.
Don't know.
Anyway.
They said, I've never really seen anything like it. It was like I had a free roll at right back. That was how they described it. Like, and you're like, fucking was he? It was like there's so much time and space. It was, and at one point I was like, are we doing this deliberately? Like, is this the play? Is this the tactic? because they're all doing it. Apart from
Aye.
probably Campbell, they're all doing it. And Stevenson was really narrow, which was giving loads of space to the right back out wide. It was like, because we were sitting watching it in the first half, like, we're going, that boy's got fucking acres out there, like on their right hand side or left hand
Aye.
side. But then you look where Stevenson is, and he was really narrow. And then I don't know if he was expecting Yuan to come back, but then he was one of the players we're talking about, doesn't run fast going that way
Yeah.
as he does another way. And you're looking at it going, well, what the fuck are we deliberately like keeping that, sort of try to pack the middle? Like, just say, get your crosses in then, because we're really good at defending them. Because
Because we're
fucking
fucking
no.
no.
Right? So, what are we actually fucking doing here? I wasn't really, but it felt like it was either that badly executed that made me think it was deliberate.
Aye. And the other thing with that, with like their right back going wandering, is Yuan was our out ball. Early doors when we were doing well, we stopped getting the ball to Yuan. I didn't understand
Yeah.
why you did that. It's whether the kind of Celtic changed something to double up on him or whatever,
Yeah.
or whether you get. I was talking to my old man about this. Sometimes managers they anticipate that that's what they're going to do, so they stop have a bit of success doing that side, and then when they think that's all we're going to be doing, start hitting the other side, and then they just kind of nullify their own strength.
Yeah.
We try to be clever, but we stopped getting the ball Yuan, and he was like having a great time up and doing that wing early
He
doors.
definitely drifted out the game, aye.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, right. I'll take us on to some talking points. Just before we do, a word for the defender on their fourth goal, I think it was. Have you ever seen, well, again, obviously we have because we've watched Hibs all season, but shambolic defending for your centre halves as we saw for that goal?
Well, I can't remember. I remember it was a great pass, but I can't remember what. But it seemed to be like really wide open as well.
Aye, it was an alright pass. You could have made the pass. This is the thing, it's no great pass.
No, I'm a good player, like.
Well, yeah, let's go with that. You could have done a pass. Hanlon, I described it on Hibs net. Hanlon made a run that you would expect somebody to make a run like that if they've taken too much drink and they were trying to catch a bus that they think they might be able to catch, but probably isn't going where they need it to go anyway.
And they just slowed down as they get. I'm not make it.
He's going, where's the fucking going? And the centre halves are wide open. Their biggest threat, the centre forward, picks up the ball bang in front of our fucking goal, straight on by a run in on the centre half. Like, I think it was Rocky maybe went to challenge and he's not going to fucking
back on him.
He's not going to win that. Rocky I thought had a decent game.
I've seen Dave Graham, one of your folk that listened, and that he always defends ball handling, and he suggested that Hanlon was caught out, like you're saying there, because he was trying to cover for the midfield who were over the shop.
Well, I think Poaches was posting
so I don't know if that's the other side of the argument. But again, Paul Hanlon, if you're listening, Paul, if that's your excuse, let us know. Text in 80295.
Right, I'll quickly run through because I think we've gone into bumper. We've got two games to talk about, but we're almost into feature-length podcast territory here, Colin. So we'll try to. I'll rattle through some of these, and some we might speak about, but some we might just say aye or no. Parnaham 2, LJ just isn't a manager. He obviously can't motivate a team. He can't coach. He can't spot a player. Rumours are that Porto's leaving as he's no longer developing under LJ. If that's true, then it says it all.
It's not a rumour. Porter said that, but he never said it was under Lee Johnson. He just said that he's not developing fast enough because the standard of the squad's not up to the fucking what he thinks his level is, or what it is when he goes to Scotland, which we all fucking know, isn't he?
Aye. JPJ White said, I have been getting into games using an over 65 ticket, although I'm only 61. Am I a bigger thief than Aidan McGeady?
Yes.
Aye, yeah. I didn't get the criticism from McGeady. He's been injured. Like on the basis that he wasn't injured deliberately, which I think he was. What were folk expecting?
I think the Norwich boy might have injured him deliberately, but he never deliberately got injured.
Aye. Dave Thompson said, we've got to back LJ. If rumours are to be believed, we have a change in recruitment happening. I think LJ can only see his way of playing and doesn't fully get the squad, can't deliver his vision. Plan B required. Set up to our skill level, not to his ideology against better teams. And the sick of players that are not at our level. So the recruitment column, we sort of touched on it through the episode. LJ's talked about clear out. It looks like there definitely needs to be a change in the recruitment setup. I think we're safe to say that. Agree?
Aye, or the recruitment needs to be better.
Aye.
And if that means changing the setup, then that means changing the setup. But recruitment was better under the previous setup than it was in this setup. Although everybody moaned about signing some in players under that previous setup.
Aye.
But
Aye,
I prefer that. I prefer signing John McGinn and Kyle McGuinness than even Paul McGinn or whoever else we got for St Mirren than some of the boys we've brought in recently.
Aye. Craig said, I don't think we played that badly, but Cadden had a nightmare, and I do believe January is a huge window for us. Celtic were impressive, Dyson and Moy especially. Cadden, I thought, had a shocker. He's like his boots on the wrong feet at times. Even the kind of scored, scored in inverted commas with which was a good finish. But then he got in a similar position about 10 minutes later and fucking took a fresh air swipe at the ball. And you can't do that at this level. It's like this bit missing the header. You have to be better than that. But I also think Cadden got no help from McGuinness in that half.
Which he did have on Saturday.
Aye. Considering McGuinness was on his side, you really needed him to have a bigger input in the game than he did. Jeff Ashton said they had so much room, we made the bald Oz midfielder look like Zidane. What happened to letting them know with odd tackle? Only Campbell looked like he would lay a finger on them, and Porto once in the corner. I've said before, no bookings is a sad indictment. Correct, Jeff. Yeah, we covered that. William Turner, why was nobody assigned to do a man marking job on Aaron Moy? From the 15th minute onwards, it was obvious to everyone except our manager and players he had too much time and space. Nobody scouted him either. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought Porteous was the one that was maybe assigned to that, if anybody, because he was the one that was kind of chasing shadows with him, mostly.
And also for Turner, so Johnson needed to change things earlier. McGuinness, New and Cadden were all poor and left on too long. Henderson, McCurdy, McGeady weren't answers though. All three need punted. Do you think the three of them will be here next season?
Henderson, McGeady, and sorry, who was the other one?
McCurdy.
No.
I think McCurdy will be. I don't think McGeady will be. I think McCurdy will. I actually fancy McCurdy to make a name for himself in a good way on
I think the other two
Monday.
Do you? Is that your premonition?
A wee fancy for him. I mean, we've had for like the sort of the Boxing Day New Year derbies, the last couple we had the Boyle one and the Horgan one.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're due a McCurdy one. I think that's what's going to happen.
Good.
That's my hot take that they'll remember and throw back in my face later on.
Slip it in here when nobody's listening anymore.
Say what we want now. Charlie McGrew thinks he made that up. Said Celtic are a couple of levels above everyone else in the league and will most likely pump the Huns at Ibrox. At least we don't resort to the anti-football that Aberdeen tried. Look at Arteta with Arsenal. Fans wanted him sacked, but board stuck by him and now they're doing well. So there's an interesting question to ask you. Is Arteta a reason or an example of why, if you think you've got the right manager, you should stand by him?
Well, aye, yes. I've watched. Did you watch the All or Nothing thing?
No, not yet.
It's good. And they play good football and all that. But he was all about creating his style, the long-term plan, all
trust
of that
the
stuff.
Process. That was what he said. And trust the process.
And a wee bit David Brenty at times.
So I need to watch it then. Vancouver Hibs said, I could be wrong, but I think only one player starting versus Celtic. Yuan Suklun was our LJ signing. Doesn't this tell its own story? Given he had an entire pre-season, has over 500 games under his belt as a manager, the recruitment has been, on average, quite poor. So just quick run through the starting lineup. Marshall was lined up under Maloney. Cadden, Rocky, Hanlon, Stevenson, already there. Newell, Campbell, already there. McGuinness, already there. So Yuan, Nisbet, already there.
Yeah.
Did I miss anybody? So that's a very telling. Did I miss anybody? I can't mind.
I think we maybe one short, but I know that's it's right. I mean, it is telling, and a lot of folk would have had him in, don't know.
Aye. But then it doesn't say much for Johnson either, because we spoke about it before. he's the one that's come out said several times he's got final say on players. So if the players aren't good enough, he needs to have a fucking good look in the mirror as well and say,
Yep.
did he do enough to discourage signing them? Cannon Hannon said lots of things need sorted, but our season shouldn't be judged against Celtic. They will finish league 20 points ahead of second. That's probably fair as well. Don't think you necessarily judge the season on it, but the context of that defeat and the run of defeats that we've had.
8 out of 10 now, eh?
Aye.
And folk are starting to pick up on it now, aren't they?
Aye.
We've been talking about it since it was fucking 4 and 5.
Aye.
It's now double that. And now I'm seeing like other folk on Twitter saying it. Like,
Aye.
all these other like neutral accounts or other teams talking about it. So because they're realising, Hibs have got sack another manager.
Aye, that's it. It's Kevin's coming.
Yeah.
Ian T said, I've not heard LJ's post-match comments re recruitment, but over the years I've long felt that when a poor player is repeatedly played in or out of position, it's the Hibs manager saying we need strengthening, it's not my player. And if what I've read is true, it appears LJ has given an ultimatum. That probably only ends one way and leaves us in free fall again. Hopefully Ron is not doing an Elon.
Who talking about the Pochers?
So I think Pochers, but I think what he's saying is that that's Johnson's message to the board to say I've not got the tools to work with, and you've hung out to
he's
dry.
Got Kenna on the bench, yeah, it's fucking mental. Like, he's got an actual player in that position, and he's playing your better defender out of position. And he's trying to justify it before the game, like on the radio. I heard that on the way down, and I'm like, he's saying I can fill in the gaps defensively, and I don't know what Kenna's job is. Like, why then play like your best defender? Certainly, I think most people would say he's your best defender. As much as I'm critically I'm on here, he is still your best defender. And we play him out of position when we've got somebody that plays that position. It's fucking nuts. It's like,
that is. And if rumours are to believe he's about to go, so what we've found out over the last 3 months is Ryan Porteous isn't a midfielder. Yeah, right. I mean, you could add the caveat and say, yeah, maybe he'll turn into one. The only person that's benefited is the manager of his new club, who'll go, Kevin, we sign him. Then they play him in fucking midfield because he's not a midfielder.
Because he's
centre half. We've watched him over the last few years.
People telling us he has. It's like he's just not got a pass.
Yeah. Vince Robinson said, really play the same team formation against Livi and Celtic. Where did situational selection and leadership go? Porto never a midfielder, and LG never a tactician. Or dynamism, in inverted commas. I think this was a new word that Lee Johnson had fired in.
Oh, is that why it's in inverted commas?
Aye.
Very good.
Is all wrong. Maloney did better against this mob. Aye, I mean the thing about playing the same team, same tactics against Livingston as you do against Celtic.
Were you saying that before the game? Was Vince saying it before the game? I was quite happy with the same team because I was quite happy with how it went on Saturday.
Aye.
But then even before the game, we were having a chat, and we were not us, but we were sitting having a chat, and we were like, "Jake's playing 3 at the back tonight because it's the same team, and you could have slipped Porteous back into a back 5, 3, whatever one it is." But he didn't. He definitely did play the same formation. Although for the first 10 minutes, it seemed to be working.
We just need games to last 10 minutes or against 10 men.
10 men.
Aye, 10's are lucky number. Aye.
Yeah.
Lex Loafer, which is a good username. Lex Loafer, I like that one. Said they're miles ahead of us these days, but it's fine margins as Cadam is a half step away from the opener. Hanlon hits the post and Nisbet misses a sitter. All when the goal would have mattered. To be fair, scoring would have just made them angry, which is fair enough. Tam said Lee Johnson talks big game about winning mentality, but he doesn't know how to set it. Same reason that so many fans still love Neil Lennon. He knew how to set a winning mentality, but he's tactically limited. Lee Johnson is a great manager, but he's just so uninspiring, stroke very boring. Right, next couple. Craig Montgomery, we were completely destroyed. LG does not have a clue how to set up against them. We're about 6 players short of having any chance to beat them, and it's worse when our manager is incompetent as half the team. Only Rocky and Ewan decent for me. We need to tear this team up, tear this team to bits and start again. Recent experiment of running the club like a game of career mode on FIFA has not worked. We need solid experience left centre back, dynamic midfielders ×2, at least as a minimum. That's probably the areas I would strengthen as well. Our midfield's shocking, really, when it comes to it. When you really need a midfield to stand up, ours is found wanting time and time again. Right, Oh, have I got three more to go? Guinness 2022 said very hard to come on at 4 down, but Henderson looked miles off it. Would a spell out on loan be to mutual benefit? I would put Henderson out on loan, but I think he's at our
What level? It needs to be Premier League level, though. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, or play him in the Championship to get his confidence back up or whatever it is. You know, like if he can go and shine in that league, but I think he's no going to win games for Hibs.
I wouldn't want him going to the Championship and then it would be like, as soon as he has 2 or 3 good games, it'd be like, oh, bring him back. Why did we ever let him go? He's just getting blood in the Championship. He needs to be playing for, I don't know, fucking Motherwell or somebody, where we go as against teams that we'll be playing against. Then you can judge him. It's like that comparison you've been saying about comparing Joe Newell sometimes and no others and that. It's like, put him out, he does well. Look at it, I mean, we've been the same way. Fucking demands to get Tate and Del Ferry and all that, and the team they've anyway lower leagues and nobody's fucking heard any more about them. It's just like we need to get Henderson to a level and judge him properly, because we're not going to give him the game time. It's the same with Dabrowski.
Like, Dabrowski looks like he's on his way
wasted. Wasted.
Mixer 99 said LJ has the Edinburgh Derby to keep his job or not. Well, he isn't the sole issue. Much deeper. We are miles away from where we need to be. I think if we lose the derby, he's sacked.
It depends how we lose the derby, I think. Because we said
does it?
before
Look at the cup final, the cup semi with Maloney's last game. We played well in that game. Like we should have. I mean, we were unlucky to lose it.
The week, it probably lost it the week before there, and they didn't know what to change it before because they'd already been criticised for sacking somebody before a final, and they were sacking somebody before a semi-final. I mean, they fucking headed these, semi-finals and finals. But I think it's how, because if the attitude's like it was last night against Celtic, then the players get another manager sacked. Because that's players' attitude, and I know that people are saying the managers should motivate them and all that. That's fine, I should. But if a player, like, you can only motivate somebody so much. You can only lead a horse to water. All they fucking saying like, sure, he's maybe in there banging the walls and fucking headbutting the whiteboard and that, like Lennon would have done. But if the players then just go out and then run as fast as they can, then what's the manager then? You can't shout at them and say, run fucking faster. Like fucking we found out during lockdown, they generally do.
He's it. And last one, Tony Swanson says formation isn't working. Porto was not a CDM. Cadden's not a good enough right back. Space allowed to Celtic led to the goals. And does Nisbet want to score when we play Celtic? So he has scored against Celtic before. Nisbet scored at Parkhead. I think he missed it on purpose. But I think the other points are all fair enough. I actually feel a bit better having a good old fucking moan up after that call.
Aye.
I hope it was cathartic listening to it.
If you're still listening, I mean, that's supposed to be fucking pushing an hour and a half.
I think we're an hour and 20, maybe, depending how long we started talking before we started recording. So anyway, we'll wrap up here. If you want to hear more, go and subscribe. If you're a subscriber, you'll already get it. We'll do our season or 2022 review, marks out of 15, and a bit of explanation with potentially some contributions for Twitter as well, if I can find the tweets. No promises. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks also for whoever organised the shout out at the stadium last night. If that was you, Barry, we really appreciated it. But if it was somebody else, again, we appreciate it for you as well. It was nice.
Although you did say new content, and it was a surprise to us hearing that we're going to do new content as well.
We'll have some new content. We'll do something. Right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.